AI agents. They're pretty much what anyone talks about nowadays, but a lot of people talk about them, fewer people actually implement them. And so in this video, I'll show you 25 different AI agents that do different things in different areas of your life. So there will be some focused on business, some on your personal life, some on efficiency, some on planning your day. So a ton of AI agents and different applications. Now, the goal of this video to give you a structure is to simply make you understand the possibilities, right? The scope at which those AI can touch things, right? So most people think that the capability of an AI is very small and very narrow, right? You can only do so much with AI, but that is so far from the actual truth. And so that's my goal here, is to sort of debunk a first thought that a lot, or intuition that a lot of people have that is wrong. So let's get straight into it. By the way, this is a 3-part series where in this video I'll talk about how to the areas and some ideas for those AI agents. But in the following videos, I'll actually implement them, show you the workflows, all that jazz, and show you how to integrate that with your tools. So if you want to see that, please do subscribe and hit the bell, because that's pretty much the only way you'll actually hear of me again. And it'll also show me your support. But let's get straight into it. There's 3 parts or 3 sectors of these AI agents that I'll demonstrate. The first one are going to be revenue generators. So that's anything related to sales, marketing, or lead gen. There's going to be communicators, efficiency, and user experience agents, and other ideas I had. So let's dive in. The first one is an AI lead qualification bot. So as the name suggests, this will score leads inside of your CRM. Essentially, it'll assign tags, and from this, you can do some actions, right? Yeah, for each of these AI agents, I will show you what you have to do on a step-by-step to implement. And again, on later videos, I'll actually implement them for you to give you an idea of how to do it. But for now, this is, it qualifies your leads. And this is very important because through this qualification, you can launch other automations tailored to that lead, right? So for hot leads, you might want to warm call them, right, directly. So if you have this AI that qualifies them right after a sales call, right, the AI qualifies and says, okay, this lead is hot. We have to do X, Y, and Z to ensure that we close them. Okay, so that's the goal of this one. We have an after sale AI. So this one is more so for e-commerce or anything related to after sale services. And so you can, of course, Shopify does this for you, but order confirmations, invoicing, follow-up communication after a purchase. This also applies to service-based businesses where, they make a purchase, for example, for the onboarding. You want your communication to be aligned with that. So essentially nurture the relationship as fast as possible in as many ways as possible. Another one is a AI document summarizer. So this might seem sort of a usual one, but it's actually very useful. And so one example here is that one of our lead magnets so I'm showing you my website here, but essentially we have taken uh, Hermosifier. We've taken the entire book of Alex Hermosi and we've added that to an AI agent. And that AI agent essentially has all the data from the book, all the insights. And so all you have to do is input your services, your ICP, your pain points, your case studies, and it'll output an offer based on all the frameworks that Alex Hermosi talks in his book, right? So that is a very concrete example of some AI agents and why summarizing documents through AI is very powerful, right? Okay, so you can also condense reports or documents into bullet points. Another great example here is if you have a call and you want to condense it into a few bullet points or action points, you can through AI, right? So you just record your call, take the transcript, and boom, okay? Um, AI contract analyzer. So if you want to add a clause to your contract, but you want to use legal language, you can have a bot, so a chat bot, that'll do that for you. And so that's, again, very useful to ensure that your contract has proper legal language. Another one is a pricing advisor. I wouldn't recommend that. It was just an idea I had, but essentially it compares you to the marketplace, so your competitors and etc., and it'll find an optimal pricing strategy. I think this is a useful insight, but not something you should just rely on, purely because, um, this is a very important decision to make. And so using AI shouldn't be the right way to go, for at least right now, right in 2025. Sales email optimizer, sort of the same thought here, right? You'll analyze your sales drafts and your CTAs, hooks, and it'll improve engagement. That being said, what I would use this for is to use a specific language, or even better, industry specific language. And so in your email, when you draft an email, for example, if you want to send that out, you just feel like it's good, you just wrote it in 1 minute. If you have this AI analyze it, which you can just copy paste into the AI, then it might use some more impactful words or relevant words to the prospect that might, speak their language, right? And that's what we want to do at any time of the week. So that's another one. CRM. So these are very, very, very powerful. Okay. There's two here, and I'll show you a last one later on. So stay tuned for that because it's probably the most powerful AI agent here. So the first one is a CRM data cleaner. Okay, you might not need AI for this, but it's a very good automation to have. How this works is you have data in your CRM. Okay, oftentimes, and I'll say at least 90% of companies have data in their CRM that is just outdated, right? So imagine you have a recruiting company, and you had a prospect that was hiring for a bunch of titles. Okay, well, a few weeks later on, they won't be hiring for that title. They'll either have abandoned the project or hired the person. Okay, so it's very important to have intent data on your prospects and actual up-to-date data. So having a data cleaner where it removes uh, essentially outdated data, that is very important. And even better, it just summarizes or condenses data, right? So that you don't have to scroll a thousand pages to find important data about the prospect. If you can just summarize it in a few bullet points for each lead and use AI to do that, then it's very powerful. Another one is CRM Enricher. So as the name suggests, it would enrich your prospects in your CRM. The beauty of doing that is, imagine you have a call, right? Having intent data. So for example, posted on LinkedIn in the past 3 days. That is very good intent data that you can use in your meeting prep. So again, another golden nugget here. And intent data, of course, very important. Essentially, the CRM enricher is basically you want to add any update the company or person has had since you last spoke, right? Very important. And also, you can do a ton more, but I'll show you at the very end. So here, implementation. Sales forecasting agent. I think the name suggests what it means. Forecasts sales. So all you have to do is input. Input your sales metrics. So for example, close rate, close amount or deal amount, likelihood of close. And if you input all of those, then you'll have a good estimate of how many sales and how many cash will bring in this month, right? So imagine you have 10 deals at a different deal amount each, and you think that they'll close at 30%, 20%, 70%, etc. And so it'll calculate that for you. You can do that just through simple automations or through like Google Sheets, but having an AI that does this for you could also be useful if you want to use more data than just those little metrics, right? So if you want to use the sales metrics plus engagement, for example, so if they've engaged with you or the team in the past days, what they said, etc., then you can do that, right? So you can get far more advanced than just data analysis, okay? Legal Slack bot, so that's if you want to add a clause again. So it's a different one because this will help your team. Imagine you have terms and conditions in your contracts. This will help your legal team or your accountant or whatsoever to find out if adding a clause matches the terms of sale and business that you have for your contract. So imagine you offer a guarantee, but you have a few conditions that need to be met. Well, imagine there's like dozens of these. Well, if you input that into the AI and then you ask the AI, hey, I want to add this guarantee. Does it match our terms of service or terms of sale and for businesses? And boom, it'll tell you yes or no. So very, very useful for contracts. Product FAQ chatbot. I think we're all aware of what that does. Social media engagement. So this is very powerful again, purely because imagine this workflow. You run ads, someone likes your ad, then you reach out with a warm email. You can use AI to make this very, very personal. So based on the ad, for example, right? And based on who they are. So you can do research on them, input that into the AI, send out the message and say like, hey, Joe, I know you're from XYZ County. You like this, which means you might like this. Boom, bam, boom. That's where you can use AI. So that's basically what I said, right? Get data on the prospect that liked and create very personal outreach. Another one here, AI subject lines generator. Not recommended, purely because subject lines, I would recommend, like, since I do cold email, I would recommend just doing them yourself. But if you use AI-based variables, such as the case study variable, so you do research on their company and, you find on their website a case study and you input that into the subject line, that's a good subject line. And that's where you would use AI. AI press release drafting agent, it speaks for itself. Meeting summary agent, very, very, very useful. So again, you would have a recorder on your calls. So let's say Fathom, you use an API. I don't think Fathom has an API, but I'm sure with webhooks and stuff like that, you can figure out some stuff. But essentially, you automate getting the transcript from Fathom, use AI to summarize this in a few bullet points, and connect it to the CRM or Google Sheets or whatever you want to use this for. Very, very useful, very powerful. Internal communications bot, so very useful again. Imagine you have SOPs, right? So you have a ton of SOPs and you have a ton of VAs that just have some questions sometimes and you don't want to have to answer it yourself. Well, you can input all your SOPs into the AI, put that as a interactable chatbot on Slack. And so when they type, for example, /ellipse_automator or @ellipse_automator, then they will be prompted to use the chatbot, which will give them very specific instructions on what they need to do. AI customer feedback and creator, so very useful too. So you can refine your customer journey. This is more so for e-commerce, for example, but it can be for a service-based business. You link that with your CRM and pull that and use it through AI. 17, multilingual chat support agent. So this is very much for SaaS, but I think you understand what this means. Task prioritization agent. So this is for a to-do list, for example. The way I structure my to-do list is in 3 blocks: the urgent and important tasks, the not urgent and important, and the extra. So you could ask AI to figure out like, okay, check out all the tasks I need to do in my project management Google Sheets or my to-do list, what I haven't done, what I want to do, stuff like that. Structure it into these 3 things. Output this every single day at say 7 a.m. so that when you wake up, you have a detailed plan of what you need to do. Okay, very useful. AI dashboard builder. So that is, for example, if you have developers or you have data analysts that purely just don't want to have to code dashboards or do stuff like that, they can just input the metrics and the AI will use code to create the dashboards or the graphics, stuff like that. Very useful if you do a ton of data analytics. AI proposal generator. So you could use this based on a specific situation, I would say. So for example, if you have a lead magnet and they opted in, so opt-in page that led to a lead magnet, you record all those actions, right, that the lead went through, and on a newsletter, you could tailor your newsletter to their journey, and that would make a very personal proposal. Finally, onboarding assistant. Again, this is far more for a service-based business where you would want to enhance the customer journey as much as possible and give them as much value as possible off the gate. And so that's one way to do that. So if they want guides on if they and by the way, this is useful for client onboarding and employee onboarding, different AI agents for different purposes, but you get the gist of it. Calendar optimizer. I haven't built this out, but it's a very interesting one where this removes conflicts before they happen, right? And so imagine you just have a conflict. So this runs daily, and one day you have a team member that books a call with you, and that conflicts with a sales call you might have. Well, that AI will detect it, and instead of going up to that date and not realizing you have a conflict until maybe a few hours before, and then you send an email, and the chances of them actually replying, changing everything, they're far lower than if you can do that days ahead. And so if you have that AI calendar optimizer, it's very powerful, right? And it increases your show up rates by a lot, right? So very important and very useful. Website personalization agent. So this is more so for e-commerce, and I think Klaviyo already does this, but it's just another example where you can adjust the website content based on their user behavior and like data you have on them. AI tracker. So this is possibly the most useful one, but it's hard to justify one single application for this. So I just gave a ton of them. So for example, AI inventory tracker. So if you're an e-commerce store and you have inventory, but you're running low or stuff like that, or you want to get notified when the stock runs low, you can do that, right? You can have a simple AI Google Sheets tracker. So if, for example, one metric in one Google Sheet exceeds a specific point, the AI will be triggered. It'll figure out what happened. For example, if this is a show up rate problem, then you can figure out, okay, well, maybe this happened because we tested this, or they came from this source, stuff like that. So you can do AI sales tracker, AI meeting booked tracker, a ton of these. Very, very useful. I hope that makes sense, by the way. But it essentially monitors stuff in real time and either just alerts, right? Compliance monitor. So this is, for example, if you have brand guidelines and you want to make sure that the document uses everything correctly, you can input the document into the AI, which will have a database by itself that'll essentially you'll input a database into the AI with all of the requirements from the brand guidelines. And so when you input a Google Doc, like through the chat, then the AI will tell you, okay, this works, this doesn't work, stuff like that. Finally, getting to the final one, so the CRM AI promotion that I mentioned earlier, that I said this would be probably the most powerful one. This is so powerful because if you have a very good CRM, which if you don't have a tailored CRM, we can help you if you want. If you want to do it yourself, then go ahead. But we can help you set it up and set up a bunch of the AI agents and just automations that I talked about here, but a ton more I didn't talk about. But anyway, this one is very useful because once you have a ton of good data on your uh, pipeline, then you can create AI promotions. So that is, for example, if a lead came from a specific place, interacted with specific things, and you log all of that into the CRM, and then you can create a promotion saying like, hey, we've been in contact since date, right? So a month, and we've we've analyzed our best clients in your industry, and instead of saying your industry, we would input their industry. So for example, in the interior design industry, and we found commonalities, or these three commonalities that made them successful, and I wanted to share them with you. Boom, you show the three ones, and then the CTA could be something like, you can either take this and forget about it in 30 minutes, or we can help you implement them on a free whatever, just to get them back on a call, right? So on a free webinar or on a free coaching call, stuff like that, right? Those are AI promotions that are very, very, very tailored to the prospects and make them feel valued. But that's only possible with good data. So that's why I put this at the very end, because these AI agents should lay the foundations for more advanced agents like this one, okay? So I hope these 26 AI agents made sense. If you want to see the part 2 and part 3, you know what to do. Subscribe, hit the bell. It'll show me a sign that you like this and you want to see more of this. If you'd like to give me any feedback, you can also comment, but the best feedback is subscribe for me. That's what I track. Stay tuned for more.